Auburn Blitz is now on the air, your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Auburn Blitz here on this Tuesday. Brett and Randy with you for your lunch hour. We're glad that you joined us out there, wherever it is that you might be tuning us in. You can comment on Facebook Live. You can give us a call at 256-234-6221. We'd love to hear from you here on this Tuesday. Program brought to you by Russell Do It Center and Building Supply Stores with 9 locations here in Central Alabama. J.A. Smith Construction and Excavation for all your jobs, no job too big or too small. And Central Alabama Community College in the 2-year college system with 4 locations here in Central Alabama and Alexander City, Childersburg, Prattville, and Talladega for all your education needs. Call on them. Glad to see you, Randy. Good Tuesday to everybody out there. Not a good Saturday for Auburn basketball. Auburn fell to Kentucky 70-59 in the last 10 meetings between these two schools. The record's 5-5, so kind of tells you where the program's gone. If you'd have told me 20 years ago, we would probably been disappointed that we were 5-5 against Kentucky in the last 10 meetings. I think we'd all taken that, but probably sprinted for that. But anyway, that's our expectations, especially at home. We don't lose at home very often. Once again, we were cursed by not being able to hit shots. When this team hits shots, they win. When they don't, they lose. And I know that's kind of a very basic statement to say, but this team is not a very good shooting team from the floor. They have ways to score, but Kentucky defended really well. They didn't shoot the ball much better themselves. Both teams only made 4 threes apiece. But 12 turnovers, and what they were able to get off turnovers was the difference in the game. They were able to get 15 points early in the game off turnovers. And, Auburn really calmed it down in the second half, but the damage had kind of been done. So now you look to the last 5 games on the schedule for Auburn. You play Georgia twice. You got Missouri. Those are 2 of the teams at the bottom of the league. You got Mississippi State, which is a mid-tier team, and you got Tennessee, which is right there with you in the league. Really can't argue with that schedule. Sets up pretty good for Auburn, but got to get it done coming up this Saturday on the road.
Just going to depend on how we play. And, we got some players that are woefully inadequate on the offensive end right now when you're talking about the point guard position, for one. Our 2 point guards had 0 assists Saturday.
Ridiculous.
It's going to be very tough. Now, I know part of that was Trey Donaldson getting into foul trouble. He had 4 fouls early in the second half, and that took him out. I think he played 11 minutes, if memory serves me right. Just not enough of him to necessarily point to that, but, he's the one making the fouls. He's the one that's mentally got to know that how important, especially right now, the way that Aiden Holloway's playing, that we need him in the basketball game, maybe more minutes than he ever expected to start the season. So it is what it is until those 2 guys, I like the change of moving Denver to the point. He's not going to break you down on the dribble, but he did knock down some shots on Saturday, and he's physical enough, especially on the defensive end, to be good enough to put somebody in there to take away from 2 that just aren't performing up to the standard that we need. So that's where you start, Brett. I don't know how you get an answer for that. No one expected Holloway to play the way that he has, and he had a lot of good shots Saturday when he was in there.
Yep.
I thought the form and everything, from what I can tell, looked good. He's just not making shots. Sometimes that happens.
Something's off with him. I don't anticipate him being back next year. I think probably when the season is over, you'll see him declare to go in the portal. Maybe it's going to be best for him because Bruce Pearl gave and has given him and continues to give him every opportunity to kind of take the reins at point guard, coming in as a McDonald's All-American 5-star guy. He hasn't been able to do it. It's forced him to move Denver Jones into that role where Denver Jones is really more of a 2 guy. So bottom line is if you can't get, 8 points from your guards night in and night out when they're out there, you ain't going to beat very many people. You're relying on a lot of things to go your way and teams to play poorly. KD Johnson, again, he's up and down. You can't really depend on him. Trey Donaldson, like you said, got into foul trouble. But it really, to me, all revolves around Aiden Holloway. He has not been able to produce, even as a freshman. I mean, look, Kentucky's got a boatload of freshmen. There's a lot of teams that play a lot of freshmen. He's a highly touted freshman. He has not been able to produce and fulfill that void that he's got right now for this team, and that's the dark hole right now. That's the abyss, is Aiden Holloway. You lose by 11 points at home. Your defense played really well. It's not like Kentucky averages about 90 points a game, so you held them well under their average. The problem is you just can't find any offense. And look, don't be surprised. You go on the road to Georgia and you look like a world beater. We've already seen that happen multiple times this year. The ebbs and flows. You go and play terrible against Florida and you come home and you play like national champs against Alabama. Vice versa. Same thing with several other stretches in the season this year. But Jalen Williams looked like may have had a season-ending or career-ending injury. It would have been a career-ending injury for him at Auburn. Not going to be one. MRI revealed that there wasn't anything that required surgery. That's huge because Bruce Pearl brought this up, Randy. Auburn's lost 6 games. In the 6 games where Auburn's lost, Jalen Williams has played poorly. So when he plays well, Auburn wins. That's another head-scratcher, how you can score 24 on Saturday and then come back on a Wednesday and score 4. I don't know how at his level, a player that's relied on as much as him, how he goes missing from time to time.
He's a streaky shooter. And unfortunately, when he's not shooting it well, when the first 2 or 3 don't go down, he normally doesn't get it back together. The 6 points that he had on Saturday was not anywhere near from the same distance, and he was able to do some things inside to pick those 6 points up. So I think
he only had 3 points.
I think Jalen had.
I think he only had 3.
Yeah, he only had 3 points on. Okay,
I mean, you got a guy that's averaging.
KD had the 6 that.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, because KD at times when we played poorly like we did Saturday has stepped up from a guard position and scored the basketball. And Denver
he tried to get it going, Randy. He's the spark out there. At least KD will take over and try to force the issue sometimes when Auburn's offense isn't getting it done, and he'll try to get to the basket. And I know he gets criticized for being a little out of control. I've done that. I've been one of the biggest critics of him sometimes. But at least he tries to say, okay, we got to have a little urgency. We got to generate some type of offense. And, really outside of him, boy, we just getting a lull. Everybody just kind of starts looking around to see who's going to step up to be the guy. So this is still a great basketball team. It's a 20-6 team. There's definitely deficiencies in this team. I think we look down the roster. There's not just a stud basketball player on this team. I mean, Janai Broome, night in and night out, is going to give you 14 to 16, and he's a definite physical presence inside. But he's not a guy that's going to give you 30. He does every blue moon, but some of these teams like a Sears for Alabama, or Dalton Connect for Tennessee, or whoever for some of these other teams can go out there and score you 25 or 30. Almost every night if they need to do it. I don't think Auburn has that guy.
Not when you have the inability to shoot the ball as well as we have. At times, we're 12 of 20 the previous game from three-point range. This game, what did we end up shooting from 3?
Oh, God,
4 of 22. So there's the biggest difference. Auburn wins a basketball game if they knock down 8 threes. And we keep calling that the magic number for Auburn. If they can sneak it up between 8 and 10 made threes, then it changes the whole dynamic of the game. And the defensive pressure out on the perimeter for Kentucky is the problem, and that has been our nemesis. It's been our nemesis for the last 4 or 5 years when we get into tournament play, too. You think back to Miami. That's as talented an Auburn team as we'll ever see, with Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler and that entire crew. But their ability to extend that defense out and cause issues well past the three-point arc.
Is Bruce Pearl willing to change his philosophy on recruiting guards? Because this is year after year after year.
Well, Trey Donaldson's a massive guard. I mean, so you got –
But he's won.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, between the 2-point guards we have right now, one of them's diminutive, but we've got one that is, what is he, 6'4"? I mean, if anything, I think he's 20 pounds heavy. I mean, this guy's he is a big physical guard. So I don't point as much.
Recruits are very small, and it's a problem that they get pushed out. They did again Saturday. You're right. I mean, Trey got into foul trouble.
Denver's a big guard. He's having to play point. It's not
really
necessarily his position, but he is, and he's going to have to play a whole lot more of it this year. And KD could, but it feels like we're more comfortable going with Denver at the point and KD at the 2, with the two of them in there together for a lot of minutes. And those two guys are physical. There's no issues there. Problem is, we don't shoot the ball all that well when we got hands and face.
Auburn's just been struggling shooting the basketball for several years
since
now.
19.
I mean, they haven't really been able to put a team on the floor that you feel good that can go out there and get shots.
Like Alabama does.
Yeah, right. Alabama's got 4 guys from outside that can shoot your eyeballs out.
Yeah.
See, four opportunities, man. And, like you said, South Carolina, we were on at 11 threes, but
12 of 20.
12 of 20. Yeah. So you go back to
60%
Saturday and you hit 4. And a lot of them were wide open shots. Hey, KD airballed a 3 in the corner, wide open.
I thought Holloway had, I don't know how many shots he took, but I thought 3 or 4 of them were on target. Just barely missing.
Not going in, though. Up against the first break of the show, just getting started. Stay tuned. More Auburn Blitz right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau tri-tunes, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Let's get serious. Let's get Arctic Air serious. You want your car and truck to live longer, don't you? Well, it's about maintenance. Same thing with Arctic Air. You see the number at the bottom of the screen? Call them right now. Let me tell you something. You want to be comfortable? We all want to be comfortable.
Here are 3 great Chevrolet offers from Glenn Smith in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado High Country, discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV, the Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $8,000 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox, up to $7,500 off. No payments until summertime. Over 300 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. 45 minutes left in the show today. Get your calls in if you'd like. 256-234-6221 and your comments there on Facebook Live. I want to shift gears away from basketball for a sec. The College Football Playoff Committee has approved the move to the 5-7 format for the 12-team playoff coming up this season. The 5 highest-ranked conference champions plus the next 7 highest-ranked teams as determined by the CFP selection committee. That will be how you get the 12 teams in the playoffs. So they're going to take 5 conference champions. Is there 5 conferences left to take a champion from?
It's a good question.
Well, Pac-12 don't have any.
Yep, so that's...
you got ACC, Big 12, SEC, Big 10. What's the other one? What am I missing? I don't know. Anyway, Conference USA.
I mean, you'd have to add one in if you were going to get to the 5th.
Anyway, that was just announced.
I can't imagine that would be the case.
I wouldn't either. A lot of things, obviously, to be determined on that, but 12 teams moving from that 4 to that 12, and so there's going to be 7 spots open out there for teams to jump in there. So we'll be interesting to see kind of how all that works to start this coming up year. Let's go back to basketball. I want to talk about basically who's got a shot to win the league. There's 5 games left for most, 6 games for some. Alabama travels to Kentucky on Saturday. They have Florida at home this Wednesday. Alabama's sitting there with a 10-2 record in league play. Tennessee is a 9-3. And then Auburn, South Carolina are both 9-4, with Florida and Kentucky sitting there at 8-4. Big opportunity for Kentucky on Saturday. Kentucky's got LSU on the road this Wednesday. Then they've got Alabama at home. So if Kentucky is to try to get back in the fight here, have a great opportunity with Alabama coming in on Saturday to get a head-to-head win against them and narrow that gap to just to 1 game.
It's a surprise to see a team like Kentucky play as poorly or as mediocre as they have at home to play as well as they have on the road at times. So that Alabama game at home, can they turn the tide and start playing a little bit better at home against a team that is one of the top teams in the country right now, in my opinion? I mean, you leave Alabama with open shots, they could beat anyone when they shoot the ball like they did this past Saturday. So Kentucky will know that. Can that extended defense that we saw against Auburn work against Alabama? They better defend the arc when you're playing Alabama. If you don't, you're in trouble. Thought that's what Auburn did well the second half over in Tuscaloosa, and it wouldn't have mattered who played Auburn that night. We played them at home. I mean, we play that way offensively, we'd beat anybody.
Sure. I mean, that's the thing. You know, we've got a team that really is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know who you're going to get from one night to the next. But you look at Alabama's next games. You got Florida, Kentucky, Ole Miss on the road, and then Tennessee comes calling to Alabama, and then you go to Florida. So you got Florida twice here, and then you got lowly Arkansas to end. So not the easiest stretch of games for Alabama. They're going to get tested definitely there with, obviously when you go to Ole Miss, it's a different story. Tennessee, doesn't matter. Obviously they're better at home, but still, in my opinion, maybe the best team overall, especially when Dalton Connect's going. So, and then you got two opportunities against a Florida team that's playing a lot better. You know, they started off the season, subpar, but man, they're really playing better. If you look at Tennessee, they got to go to Missouri, who was terrible. Texas A&M, Auburn, then at Alabama, South Carolina, and Kentucky. That is a brutal stretch for Tennessee. Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky is basically the top programs in the league outside of them that you got to go face coming down the stretch your last 4 games.
Probably the easiest schedule that you look out of these 6 teams that's got a chance to win, it's Florida. Now, of course, they're on the road at Alabama, and you got to consider that a loss. But you look after that. I mean, they've got Vandy, Missouri, two worst teams, South Carolina on the road there, got Alabama at home, and then on the road at Vandy. I mean, that's a manageable schedule outside of their on the road at Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, so you're looking at maybe one more loss for Florida possibly, but, Auburn is at Georgia, at Tennessee. If Auburn wins at Georgia, loses at Tennessee, then you got Mississippi State, Missouri, and Georgia. 2 of those are at home. Missouri's on the road. They're winless. Auburn could only be looking at maybe one more loss. So South Carolina, who was at the top, 9-4, they got at Ole Miss, at Texas A&M. Those will be 2 really tough games. Then they return home for 2 tough games, Florida, Tennessee, before they end with Mississippi State. They got a tough road to hoe for sure there. So that's the breakdown of all the teams left. And, you got to look at it. What's the magic number going to be? Alabama's sitting there with 2 losses with 6 games left. Do you see them losing more than 2 of the 6?
No, I don't. I mean, looking at Alabama, especially if they shoot the ball the way they have the last couple of weeks, it's going to be extremely tough. Auburn just played so well offensively that we overcame still a pretty decent shooting night for Alabama, scoring in the 80s against us. What, they get to 81 against Auburn at home? Right now, I think more of Alabama than I did 3 weeks ago. How about you?
No, they're by far the best shooting team, I think, maybe in the league. They have a deficiency inside.
Agree. They need Pringle to play with.
They do, but if they're hitting threes outside, man, it counters that big time. So, but then if they're off, they struggle definitely. And like you said earlier, I think it reminds you of the 19 team of Auburn. You kind of live and die by the 3. When you're hitting threes, you're almost unbeatable. When you're not, you can still win games, but you just got to figure out a way to dig and find out. So this is one of the more competitive years I can remember in the SEC, where you legitimately have 6 teams here with 5 to 6 games left in the season with a tough schedule for most of them. You lose 2 or 3, and a couple of these teams that have an easier schedule only lose 1. You could have like a 3 or 4-way tie at the top with 4 or 5 losses.
I don't feel like there's a great team in the bunch.
I don't either.
It may not be a great team in the country right now.
Purdue lost again.
Purdue's, they're always beatable.
Is it UConn?
UConn, I think, has got the best team. But I don't watch them and go, oh, my. But I do think that they're the number 1 team. Purdue's already beaten Alabama earlier in the year. I mean, if you can do what they can down in the post, you can. But, they're not a tournament team, man. They fall to teams that they should never lose in the tournament. Until they correct that, I don't have any confidence Purdue can get that championship.
Yeah, I'm with you. They've definitely underachieved for sure. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More to come here in just a minute.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen-printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Lake Martin Garage, located on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, has been serving our area since 1993. From routine maintenance such as oil changes, tune-ups, and rotating and balancing your tires, to transmission and engine repair, our trained and certified mechanics will get you back on the road better than before. Need a tow? With a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week towing service, Lake Martin Garage has local and long-range pickup. Trust your vehicle needs to the professionals at Lake Martin Garage. Call 256-825-6139, or better yet, stop in and see them today. Lake Martin Garage.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters. Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing is the #1 auto and boat detailing company in Central Alabama. Don't trust your boat or vehicle to just anybody. Hire the professionals. Top-of-the-line ceramic coating, detailing, gel coat restoration, and paint correction gives you the options to take care of your vehicle the right way. Located at 702 McCarty Road in Dayville, Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have you riding in style. Call them today at 256-794-2328 for Superior Automotive and Boat Detailing.
J.A. Smith Construction is your trusted choice for construction site clearing and grading for new home construction, underground utilities and site work, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. Halfway through our program today, you can comment away out there on Facebook Live if you'd like. You can also give us a call at 256-234-6221 here on this Tuesday. I want to shift over, talk a little about the baseball team. Got off to a great start this weekend, 3-0 over Eastern Kentucky. And, it wasn't a bad Eastern Kentucky team. I watched a couple of those games, and they've got some guys that can pitch and pretty good in the field. They had a really good center fielder, and but Auburn really pitched well. And Carson Myers was SEC Pitcher of the Week and transferred from UAB and pitched on that Sunday game and really just came in and shut them down. And actually, Auburn's got UAB tonight. At 6 o'clock on the SEC Network Plus. So another, obviously a midweek game. We play UAB, Jacksonville State, Troy a lot during the midweeks. But just a great start. A good glimpse at Chris Stansfield in the outfield for Auburn is going to be a great player. He was a good player last year. I think he's going to be a great top tier player in the league. And Ike Irish, man, he just. You talk about a guy that's just got a nose for hitting. It doesn't matter what the count is. It doesn't matter what the situation is. That guy puts the barrel on the ball, man, and it's usually a rip somewhere. I mean, he hit a couple out this weekend. Just another good offensive-looking team. Bobby Pierce is back. Auburn's got some new guys in the middle of the infield at second and short, but for the most part, looks like a strong, solid team up and down the line.
Well, I think you said it well. I mean, I feel like this Auburn team's got the opportunity to be one of the better offensive teams we've seen since probably 2010, where Auburn, that's before the bats were dulled and we were hitting the ball out of the park, and it feels like those power numbers have come back to Auburn. And if we're able to pitch the ball as well as the potential has it, especially with Gonzalez back. There's one good thing that happened last year. When he went down, Auburn struggled, not terribly.
Yeah.
They held on, and then by the end of the year, we got it together.
Finished 12-3 in league play.
Had solid pitching coming down the stretch. We're able to piecemeal staffs together, and I think if anything, that put a lot of innings on guys that they may not have gotten in some serious setups if Gonzalez would have been healthy. And now he's back, and hopefully he's going to be
pitch well Saturday.
Really throwing the ball back to the standard that we saw a couple of years ago. Because if you got an ace,
right,
and maybe he's not our ace, but I know going into last year we thought he was our ace.
That's right.
And so if he can get back to that type of billing that we had with him, and you've got all these other arms around him, then I love the opportunity this year that Auburn's hopefully can put one of their better teams together.
Yeah, and they go on the road this weekend, take on Iowa, Wichita State, and Virginia down in Jacksonville, Florida, in a tournament down there. Two ranked teams and a really good team in Wichita State. So you're going to have three formidable opponents in Jacksonville. But you got a top 10 team in Virginia that you'll play on Sunday. You'll open up with Iowa on Friday, who's ranked number 18. So going to be tested. That's what you want early in the year, because when you get to SEC play, it's a gauntlet every single weekend. I think I mentioned last week Auburn opens up with Vanderbilt and Arkansas to start SEC play, and it doesn't get much tougher than that. Those are two, I would say, the two best teams in the league.
When you're growing up and you love baseball and College World Series is going on, and bully ball is going on out there with those old metal bats hitting balls out of the park. If you remember over in Omaha back in the 80s and 90s, Wichita State had one of the best baseball programs in the country.
They did.
And it wasn't for a short period. It was a decades-long stretch of outstanding play, and had one of the best coaches in the country as well. So to see Wichita State in some other sports, you may look down, you may go, they're not. But you got to know that sport's still very, very important to a school that put as many winners out there as Wichita State.
Yeah, they were a household name in the 80s and 90s for sure. Just a really good program. So good opponents for Auburn coming up this weekend. They've got UAB again tonight at 6 o'clock. So, again, pitching, how you manage that. Auburn's got a lot of depth. Coach Thompson talked about that a few weeks ago on our show. He said, we've got one of the deeper bullpens, and a lot of guys are going to get some looks here in this early going before conference play gets started. Let's talk about softball real quick. A rebound going on the road to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico and getting a couple of big wins over ranked opponents for Mickey Dean's squad. They're now 4-1-1. Ended up having that game Sunday canceled with Clemson due to field conditions. But, again, going on the road in a tournament, getting a couple of wins and improving to 4-1, and then they come back to the Plainsman Invite, and they'll have Longwood, Northern Iowa, Southeast Missouri State in here for a round-robin set of games all weekend. So looking forward to kind of seeing where this team goes. Again, they rebounded after that opening series or opening weekend that was kind of dull. They ended up losing to Virginia Tech and then tying Virginia Tech and then winning that game against Belmont. But Mickey Dean, again, when you look down at some of the scores, is still hitting. The pitching with Matty Penna and Shelby Lowe, and two of the more dominant pitchers in the country when you run them out there. And usually in softball, if you got two like them, they're going to give you a chance every time you go out there. But can Auburn hit the ball well enough to compete?
Well, it was the difference under Myers. Auburn put power numbers up that we just haven't done since before him or after.
Right.
And so can you go out and can you find guys? And, the problem with the Auburn softball program, if you really want to look in close, is we've recruited exceptionally well. We don't hold on to a lot of them. a lot of them, like in many other sports, they transfer around and they
That's the new world,
have
man.
outstanding careers at some other schools out there, and that's part of the battle, and it's a very, very tough battle to fight. But softball's growing, and it's growing in importance to these schools too, because I would guess that some of these softball programs are probably close to a break even.
Oh, I think most.
You think some of them are a money maker in the SEC?
Think so maybe.
Maybe a few of them.
Not much.
You know, when Auburn was rolling, I wonder if it was a break even with that softball.
Right. You know, I think we did.
Yes.
Well, I think we did a breakdown of all the sports not too long ago, and the only profitable baseball team in the league was LSU. Everybody else operated in the red.
See that.
So I don't know about softball. I mean,
That'd be an interesting take. Andy Graham, help us out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm really looking for the ones that are successful. I'm not guessing on the ones, but
Florida,
a lot of fan bases
Tennessee,
are like Auburn's fan base.
Yeah,
we're gonna show up to support a winner.
Right.
And if we get it
Can
back
you make
to that
enough
level,
money though with that to make it profitable? That's the
good question.
Up against another break. Got comments coming in. We'll get to them on the other side. Stay tuned. More Auburn Blitz right after this.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
Egg rolls are back at Zaxby's. They're hand-rolled and come with a delicious sweet and spicy dipping sauce. But enough from me. Let the egg rolls do the talking. And there you have it. 2 for $3 egg rolls. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Bucks Island is your boating headquarters. Are you ready to hit the water and go boating this summer? Bucks Island has all kinds of boats, with one sure to fit exactly what you want. Fishing boats, sport boats, pontoon boats, and all with low monthly payments. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Bucks Island Service Department experts are also here for you to keep your boat in top running condition. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Don't be left standing on the bank this summer. Visit online at bucksisland.com and don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote.
Fried chicken, and wontons, and teriyaki glaze, and an egg roll. Some people think the Zaxby's Sensation Salad is too delicious to be a salad. Yep, that's why we call it a salad. The Zaxby's Sensation Salad. Zaxby's.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz, brought to you by Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply Stores, J.A. Smith Construction and Excavation, Central Alabama Community College, bringing you the program each and every day, Monday through Friday, here from 12 to 1. Got comments coming in. I'll get to some of those here. Steve said, I believe the pregame hype last week inspired Kentucky. There was game day. Jay Billis walking around with Carwell and Chad, Broom, Aiden, and Denver walking around campus with mini basketball hoops. Yeah, I mean, you know, game day's been at Auburn before, and Auburn's been able to handle it, and they've gotten wins. But, you know, it was built up, and Kentucky, you know, just like anybody else, when they've been the program in this league for 60 years or longer, 70 years. And when you look at them and when they start to feel like they're the ones being counted out, you know, they have a little chip on the shoulder. And they're very talented. You and I just talked about that. This is still a very talented Kentucky team. The problem with John Calipari over the last several years is getting them to come together and play as a team. And, you know, Kentucky's starting to play a little bit better. They went through a little skid a couple of weeks ago, but starting to put some things together. And them coming into Neville Arena with all of that hype and that environment, and Auburn just blowing South Carolina out by 40 a few nights prior to that, that's a big win. I don't think people need to discount that effort. You know, yeah, Auburn didn't play well, but Kentucky came into an environment where only a handful of people or teams in the last 3 or 4 years have been able to come in and get a win.
Well, think about offensively how well Auburn's played at home. You know, you had 100 points scored against South Carolina.
Right.
You had 99 points scored against Alabama. So to hold Auburn to 59.
They did a great job.
I know that we didn't shoot it well, but you still have to hold them to 59. And they did a great job with that. Kentucky, you know, defensively, I thought our effort was outstanding. Held a team that averages 90 points a game to 70. But they had the best player on the court Saturday. There's bar none.
And they showed a bar graph of Kentucky's defense the last couple of weeks. It's gotten so much better. That's been their Achilles heel. They scored.
Has been.
But they can't stop anybody. And now John Calipari has obviously got them kind of turned over and got them dialed in on the defensive side. And, you know, that's kind of what Bruce Pearl said. He said Kentucky's defense is better than advertised. He said, I thought they were more physical. He said there were a couple plays that I'm going to send to the league that were real physical. He said that happens, but he said I've seen this a couple times when kids get challenged about not playing hard and not playing physical. Well, they go out and they play hard and then they play physical. And I think that goes back to the comment from Steve. You know, the hype and Auburn being the program and, you know, kind of being a three-way race at the top with Alabama and Tennessee and Auburn, and then Kentucky's down there going, hey, what about us? You know, we're going to have something to say about this thing. And they rolled into maybe the toughest environment in the conference to win. And like you said, got a great effort from their defense holding Auburn to 59
It just tells you how hard this conference is. Because I still watch Kentucky, and I said, 3 weeks ago on a program with you that I don't think Kentucky loses 2 games in the SEC. And then they go on the stretch where they lose 4 games in a row at home, which is the first time ever. And you're going, well, it sounds like you don't know what the heck you're talking about. But I still watch them play and think that when they're playing up to the standard that they played this past weekend, I don't think there's any other SEC team that's going to come in to Auburn and play the way they did Saturday. That tells you how talented that team really is.
Well, Alabama and South Carolina just made the trip to Auburn.
Yeah.
They're 2 of the teams at the time leading the league.
And lost by almost 60 between the 2 of them.
Right. So Kentucky rolls in unscathed going, yeah, we ain't played real well, but we're still Kentucky. And we're still the boss in this league.
And they are.
And they came in and made it. Now again, how consistent are they? If you look at their schedule, they've got a big one on Saturday. They got to go to LSU tomorrow. But then they got Alabama coming in. If they really want to make a statement, Alabama's sitting up there at the top of the league at 10-2. If Kentucky wins that game, it's a 1-game race at that point, and they've got the tiebreaker at that point over Alabama. So, you know, you can say what you want, but that's a big – yeah, Auburn's game was big, but that's an even bigger one for them at home against the top team.
Well, they got to right that ship. That doesn't make any sense.
Not in the upper
to
arena.
play in front of that crowd that they end up with night in and night out in your own home floor.
Right.
And to not be – and with that talent.
Yeah, it didn't.
And to lose. Now, I watched the Gonzaga game, and it was all defensive issues.
Right.
I mean, Kentucky would come down. Reed Shepherd scored 19 in the second half of the game. He didn't score in the first half, but he scores 19 in the second half. And he was getting all the offense Kentucky needed to stay in it. But the problem was he'd make a shot, and Gonzaga would come down with their offensive set at half court, and they would get a layup. They'd get an easy bucket, which is just
uncharacteristic for Kentucky.
Not for Kentucky. No, you don't expect to see that. Now, one other thing I was very impressed with Kentucky is they didn't rush things Saturday. You know, when Auburn would go on a run, Kentucky'd make them play the full shot clock on the next possession. And I'm sure that was discussed.
Right.
But they wouldn't let Auburn get into a running gun where we'd hit 2 or 3 good shots in a row from the perimeter, which is what Auburn does.
Right.
And then once we get going, we're really hard to stop. Kentucky, you know, Auburn would get a 4 to 6 point run, and Kentucky would come down and make us play the entire shot clock and get a good set and a good shot up. And I thought that was key to the game on Saturday, was their ability to do that.
I agree with that. Going back and looking at this thing, does Auburn have a shot to win the regular season? It's a long shot at this point now with 4 losses, because I think everybody felt like after the first 6 games of league play, you were going to have to win 14 or 15 games to win the league. I think it's more leaning toward the 15 mark. Well, if that were the case, Auburn would have to win out at this point, and to get to that 15-win mark. And that still probably would put you in a tie with somebody, either Alabama or Tennessee, more than likely. So Auburn's going to have to play perfect. But I heard Andy yesterday with David say, yeah, do you want to win the league? Yes. Can you still win the league? You can. But this is more about getting things figured out for March. You got to use these next 5 games to start figuring out how you're going to get better in some of your deficient areas. Guard play being number 1. I don't know if that can be fixed at this point in the season. When you can't shoot the basketball, I don't know, all of a sudden, can you do something in practice to start changing that? But Auburn's got to figure out ways to get better in those deficient areas going into March, going into the SEC tournament. And then, you know, you got to win these games, Randy, to keep your seed. You know, Auburn's predicted either a 3 or 4 seed right now. They drop 2 or 3 more of these games, you're not a 3 or 4 seed anymore.
Yeah, which is big, you know, because you get a first-round opponent that you easily should win if you're a 3 or 4. You get down to that 7 or 8 mark and you're matched up with somebody just as good as you are, then you can't count on that. But when's the last made 3 for Holloway that you can remember?
Man, I don't know.
Has it really been 3 or 4 games?
Did he make one?
No.
He
had 2 buckets.
Yeah, he had 4 points, but I don't remember the last. I don't remember the last 3. I don't. That's sad. That's a problem. So, I know you were counting on him to be a 10 to 12 point a night guy, and multiple assist guy. And right now, I mean, you look at his numbers from Saturday. That's not going to cut it against anybody. So you got to figure out a way to get better. But that seeding, like you just said, Auburn had a 9 seed last year. They played up Iowa. But the problem being an 8-9 seed, you win that game, you got to play a 1 seed in the next round.
Yep.
And Auburn played Houston.
That's exactly what happened. Played well in the first half and couldn't hold on in the second.
You got to give yourself a chance. Auburn really needs more than anything. Yeah, you want to win the league, but winning 4 maybe of these 5 to keep yourself up there in that 3 to 4 seed range going into the SEC tournament. Up against the final break of the show. Stay tuned. One final segment right after this.
When drinking, take a sober ride home, not someone's life. Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
J.A. Smith Construction is your trusted choice for construction site clearing and grading for new home construction, underground utilities and site work, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
SignSource is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama.
Chick-fil-A is always the best option when you're on the go, but they are also great when it comes to planning your next event, from tailgating to birthday parties to weddings. Call Chick-fil-A Alexander City at 256-289-7955 for catering, or order on the Chick-fil-A app. Make sure to choose the Alexander City location and have your catering order ready to go. Nugget trays, mac and cheese trays, fruit trays, cookie trays, gallons of our famous lemonade tea, and chilled grilled chicken sub sandwiches, and a lot more options. Make it Chick-fil-A Alexander City for your next event.
Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Catch a ride, not a buzz.
Hey, can you come get me?
Being buzzed still counts. Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment here on the Auburn Blitz. Again, want to thank Russell Do It Center and Building Supply Stores, J. Smith Construction, and Central Alabama Community College for their sponsorship here on the program, bringing it to you each and every day. Brent said Auburn sure had distractions on Saturday, and the pressure seeing Pearlville out there may have gotten to Auburn. You know, Brent, I think it just boiled down to Auburn having that stage was set. The crowd was raucous. My son was in there. He did the camping thing, got there, and was at game day. It was a full experience for everybody. It was extremely loud in there, and, Auburn didn't play well in the first half, and the crowd maintained their intensity. And but I think it just boils down to this is not a very good shooting basketball team, unfortunately. When you look up and down the line, and, I think Chad Baker-Mazzara is obviously going to get more minutes now with Jalen Williams being out. I don't know how long he's going to be out. They didn't really say what it was. They thought it initially may have been a meniscus tear or something, but it doesn't appear there's going to be.
Hope before the end of the regular season. That's the only note that I've seen.
Right. So don't really know the details of that, but hopefully get him back sooner than later. But then, you take one of your better players out, regardless if he's spotty or not. Now your depth becomes an issue, and you got a guy like Aiden Holloway who's not showing up at all. I mean, he's not giving you anything from the guard, so you're really down to, KD Johnson, Denver Jones, and Trey Donaldson there. I mean, you'd like to see Aiden Holloway become a bright spot and somehow find his shot. I think that's something that could be the difference. I don't think it'll happen, but Auburn could change their whole dynamic if all of a sudden Aiden Holloway starts scoring 10 or 12 a game.
So odd to think back to the start of the season with him in there and, 20-plus points, 10 or 11 assists. Was that opening game?
I think it was.
And for the first couple of weeks before SEC play, he'd have one down game, but the next game he'd come out, he'd have 16.
And that was expected, but as a freshman.
Yeah. But, I mean, he would go missing, kind of like if you remember J.D. Davison a few years ago for Alabama.
Absolutely.
He comes over to Auburn and doesn't score. But he had, for the most part, he had a solid year that year, averaging what we had hoped that we would get here with Aiden Holloway. But it's not been that way. He's very, very frustrated, which makes you feel for the kid. Right. I guess you can call him a kid. He's, the young man's, he's over there. He's used to being a 5-star, a McDonald's All-American, getting what he wants, no telling how many made threes, averaging per game, and having open shots like he did Saturday and not knocking them down. Nothing's more frustrating than that.
No, it is pleasant to see that Denver Jones has stepped up a little bit.
He has.
That's helped. Again, he's been thrust into more of a leadership role on this team. He was anticipated as being one of the better shooters on this team. And he's, 12 points. If you could get 12 to 14 out of Denver Jones, you're making up a gap there. KD could give you 6. He could give you 18. You don't know, again. But he's going to give you effort. He's going to give you quality minutes. Yeah. He's going to create some things. Dylan Cardwell, 9 minutes. He's not really an offensive factor, but if he's giving you 8 points, sometimes 10, that's icing on the cake. Trey Donaldson, obviously, has got to be told, you can't get in foul trouble. We've got to have you on the floor. He really picked it up last year coming down the stretch in postseason. He had one of his better games against Iowa in the NCAA tournament. Chris Moore's been a disappointment. Look, and again, I hate to look. There's things in life we all just have to cut straight to the chase on, and Chris Moore being a guy that has been around for a long time and was highly touted coming out of high school and out of West Memphis, and these numbers are abysmal, man. 1 point. 11 minutes and a point. That's Zep Jasper numbers. There's several games in a row now he ain't had any points. It's just, you would thought a veteran guy as touted as him give you some quality minutes and some decent offense. But, man, that's terrible.
A lot of times just no shots. He doesn't look to get anything going offensively. One thing, Chaney Johnson, he didn't score on Saturday, but I get the feeling that he's more confident with his offensive game, and it's going to come. And, with Jalen Williams out, we're going to need more out of Chaney Johnson, and he's a good piece. He's gotten better as the season's moved on. I hope that if you get to 8 or 10 points with him, and I think his skill set, I think his shot proves that at times he could be that type of player, that would help a lot.
Auburn had 3 guys in double figures. Broome, Mazzara, Jones. They got to have 4 or 5. And Jalen Williams usually gave you that every other game, it seems like, and then maybe a combination of either Trey or KD, or maybe even, like
Holloway
you said,
getting him back going.
Yeah, Chaney Johnson. But at the end of the day, Auburn's going to have 5 guys in double figures to get a chance to really make a run. Brent said Auburn really needs a good stretch run here. They can't move up, but they can sure move down the seed lines. They won't fall out, but they can't move above a 4 seed unless they beat a Tennessee. If Auburn wins out, they could definitely secure a 3 seed, I think. But I agree with what you're saying, Brent. You're not going to really probably move up from that 4 seed. You better win 3 or 4 of these last 5 to kind of maintain that. If not, you could see yourself drop down. It's apparent they don't look at the SEC tournament or conference tournaments, because if they did, Texas A&M would have gotten in last year.
Sure.
They don't. It's pretty much after the regular season, the seeds are set by the committee, and so Auburn's got 5 games to solidify what they are.
And I still like the schedule. I like the road games that you have.
This is one of the easier of the 5 teams left.
Yeah.
You've got one of the easier paths.
You couldn't ask for more. You had the opportunity on Saturday. You had game day in. That didn't work out, but nonetheless, that's a Kentucky team.
It is Kentucky, though.
And
I think you're going to look back that Mississippi State game on the road and really that I think that might end up costing Auburn a chance to win the regular season.
Yeah.
And we knew it. I mean, it just played terrible. I mean, just another one of those games where Mississippi State didn't play that good, but Auburn came in and, you know, followed up a loss with a loss. You know, played at Alabama, fought back, took the lead in that game, couldn't hold on, and then they carried that hangover over to Starkville on Saturday and lost that basketball game. And I think you'll look back. I mean, if you're sitting there where Auburn is right now, you're 10-3 instead of 9-4 if you got that win against Mississippi State. So kind of is what it is. But, again, got to see what happens. Auburn off this week. During the week, they get back in action on Saturday against Georgia on the road. Against Georgia, not very good, but it's a road game. And, you know, you got a target on your back when you show up. So Auburn, they cannot slip up in Athens. They've got to figure out a way to go over there and win that game on Saturday. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Auburn Blitz. We'll be back with you tomorrow at the same time, same place. For Randy, I'm Brett saying we've enjoyed it. We'll be see you tomorrow.